That's a one to say. Thank you for choosing GHOne TV. My name is Kweku Temeng. Well, definitely it's a delight when I join you with the latest happenings throughout the country. Tonight, obviously, is no exception. Stay with me throughout the 1 hour period as we bring you all the top-notch stories that you're looking forward to. In fact, we'll talk health, we'll bring you politics, we'll update you on issues surrounding business, we'll bring you some sports news, and then we'll refresh you with some entertainment and international news. So stay with us as we bring you all these stories and many more. But before we do so, let's look at some of the top stories that we have for you tonight. Coming up in the next 60 minutes, Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association calls for deeper examination of systemic challenges within Ghana's healthcare system, rather than what it describes as scapegoating of health professionals following the death of 29-year-old Charles Emisa. The association says it will stand with its members against any unfair targeting.
Of digital health systems, why are we not getting it right? We should be able to link our teaching hospitals with our regional hospitals in terms of digital platforms that allows us to identify that at any point in time, these are the beds that are available.
Tonight we'll bring you updates from our world of politics, and here the minority in parliament is demanding immediate release of funds to the district assembly's common fund, warning that the delay by Finance Minister Dr. Kezia Lataforsen is crippling development at the local level.
Constrained, capped, or redirected outside the lawful authority of Parliament. It is not only the assemblies that will suffer, our democracy suffers.
Well, tonight the question is, how much are you paying on your prepaid meter? Well, on Inside tonight, we examine Ghana's prepaid metering system as a directive to ECG to report within 7 days signals mounting public pressure. But the key stakeholders are questioning whether this marks a genuine regulatory reset or merely a self-audit exercise lacking independence.
ECG doesn't have that legal mandate to do so. It is PRC. So what I think PRC should do is to assess some of these complaints because billing comes in many forms.
In business tonight, let's talk about the precious metal gold as government targets weekly gold purchase of 3.02 tons under the Ghana Accelerated National Reserve Accumulation Policy, aimed at boosting reserves and achieving a 15-month of import cover by the end of year 2028. Then we'll bring you some international news as Secretary General of Zambia's National Democratic Congress arrested over allegations of circulating manipulated image of President Hakainde Hichilema. All right, so tonight we have these and many other interesting stories making the 1 hour bulletin. Definitely, you're not moving anywhere. Stay put, join us as we tell you all these stories and also bring you some more. My name is Kweku Temeng. Thank you very much for choosing GHOne TV. Well, let's start with issues surrounding the youth. And here, the National Youth Authority, that's the NYA, has condemned recent incidents of violence linked to inter-schools activities across the country, describing the acts as unacceptable and contrary to the values of discipline and respect. Well, the condemnation follows reports that a student of Obrachere Senior High School Technical School was hospitalized hospitalized after allegedly being assaulted during district schools athletics competition in Agunashredru. 3 suspects have since been arrested. Well, in a separate incident, 6 students of Agri Memorial Senior High School were also arrested in connection with the alleged assault of a final year students of Adisadel College. The NYA commended the Ghana Police Service and the Ghana Education Service for what it describes as their swift intervention and commitment to due process, while the authorities stress that violence has no place in schools and undermines the spirit of healthy competition that inter-schools activities are meant to foster. Well, it further urged young people to exercise self-control and uphold lawful conduct in line with the National Youth Policy's provision on character development and responsible citizenship. Well, the National Youth Authority indicated it will collaborate with the National Peace Council to strengthen the Peace Ambassadors Initiative in second cycle institutions to help prevent future occurrences. All right, so violence in any form is condemned, and together we'll fight this canker in second cycle institutions. Well, you can share your thoughts with us on all our social media platforms on the violent cases recently being reported at our second cycle institutions, especially when it comes to Interco. Well, we'll take other stories at this moment, and here the minority in Parliament is accusing Finance Minister Dr. Keziel Ataforsen of breaching the Constitution over the non-release of funds to District Assembly's Common Fund. Well, according to the NPP MPs, an amount of 7.33 billion Ghana cedis due funds has not been transferred, a move they argue contravenes Article 252 of the 1992 Constitution. While addressing the media in Parliament, Minority Chief Whip and MP for Nsawema Dredri, Frank Anodompre, called on President Mahama to intervene and ensure the immediate release of the funds. Well, he warned that the minority may pursue legal action if the funds are not released.
Ghana's 1992 Constitution sets a bright line in Article 252, and I quote, not less than 5% of total revenue of Ghana, unquote, must be allocated to District Assembly Common Fund. Ladies and gentlemen, this allocation is neither advisory nor subject to ministerial discretion. It is a binding constitutional command that anchors fiscal decentralization and shields local development financing from arbitrary and interferences. Persistent non-compliance, the ABFA transfers have fallen far below the 5% threshold. Despite the course clarity, the Minister of Finance transferred to DACL from the annual budget funding amount, the ABFA, the popular ABFA fund, have in recent years consistently falling short. And here I challenge the Minister of Finance to come and respond to this particular aspect of the text. It is the fund which our Constitution breathes lives into equity, fairness, and balanced development. Furthermore, when this fund is distorted, constrained, capped, or redirected outside the lawful authority of Parliament, it is not only the assemblies that will suffer. Our democracy suffers. Our decentralization suffers. Our social contractors suffers.
Well, definitely you'd want to get more updates, but how is your community looking like? How is local governance structure in your area looking like? Can you see some developments that immediately has to be undertaken? Well, let's go over the phone lines and speak to a local governance expert, Dr. Richard Fiadumo, on this particular issue. Dr. Fiadumo, thank you very much for your time. In fact, the Minister of Finance, Kweku Atuforsen, has been summoned to come and answer to some of these concerns raised. Well, tonight, summoning you to help Ghanaians get a clearer understanding right here on GHOne TV. Now, does withholding District Assembly's Common Fund allocations breach Article 252 of the 1992 Constitution? Or could the Finance Minister have a lawful basis for the delay? Of course, if a father is home and the resources are scanty, he takes his time to allocate this. Can you give me some explanation?
Yeah, thank you very much, and greetings to all your cherished listeners. I think this whole minority press conference, for me, is much ado about nothing. Because the Article 252 that he rightly quoted requires that 5% of the total revenue of this country must and should be paid to the District Assembly's Common Fund. Now, the law 252 also requires that the administrator, Common Fund administrator, is supposed to come out with a formula, and that formula must be approved. So it is erroneous to give the impression as if the DACF is a formula, is a parliamentary. The parliament only gave approval based on the formula that the DACF administrator will come up with. Don't forget that the DACF administrator is an appointee of the government. So he or she does not just get up and do things on his or her own. They have to consult cabinet and the government before they send their formula to parliament. Now, when that...
Yes, Dr. Fiadumo, please make your point.
Yes. When it is approved, then it is based on health, education, sanitation, and all that. So now the money is distributed. I think that the minority chief whip was also disingenuous because he made reference to the Local Governance Act, Section 126. What he failed to look at is Section 173, which states, and I read, that the minister may issue written instructions for the improved control and efficient management of finances of district assemblies after consultation with the minister responsible for finance. Subsection 2, the instruction may be issued either generally or with respect to a particular district and shall be complied with by district assemblies generally or the district assembly concerned. So the government came out with a guideline with respect to how expenditure must be made in line with sanitation, in line with health, in line with education and all that. So if you now come to say that because the government said spend 5% on maybe health, which is church compound, that is an illegality, I honestly do not think so, because it will defeat Section 173, which is now giving powers to the local government minister and indeed the finance minister to make sure that they give returns. And the act also says that they shall comply. So where is the illegality here? So for me, I think that yes, minorities have the right to criticize, but this particular one, they've gotten it wrong.
All right.
And for me...
But Dr. Fiadumo, let's be fair also, because the Chief Whip rightly outlined if these funds are not released, the implications on local governance. Now, let me find out from you. If these funds have not been released, how will it affect district assemblies and its local development? I'm sure as a governance aspect, you can help us also understand, or governments to know, finance minister to know that, please, these funds that you are not channeling to local governance has its implications.
My brother, that is where the irony of the situation is. Because the 2025 DACF has been paid fully for 2025. Now it is the 2026 first quarter that has not yet been released. So is the minority saying that they are not aware that the 2025 80% was released to the district assemblies? That cannot be true. You see, sometimes I laugh a bit at the risk of sounding partisan or political. In 2024, this same minority that was in government that are today telling us that it is a constitutional injunction that DACF should be released in 2024, not a single DACF was released to any assembly. You can check the fact. And I also want to put it to the minority chief whip that the way the drip equipment came about was as a result of the MPP government underpaying the 5%, which later was identified by the minority MPs then, who are now in the majority, the reason why those monies were used to procure the drip equipment. So for Christ's sake, if there is or was a government that was not paying DACF in a timeless manner, it was the MPP. But today, as we speak, 2025 DACF 80% has been paid to the district assembly. And this is a record anybody can check. So there is no delay. But if there is delay, there is no doubt that it will affect development at the local areas, which we saw especially in 2024.
Local governance expert Dr. Fiadumo, we're grateful for your time this evening. Now move on to other local stories tonight. And here, illegal mining in Ghana has evolved and so has a threat to the country's forests. Now, what was once dominated by basic tools has transformed into highly mechanized operations driven by rising gold prices and enforcement gaps. Well, at a briefing led by the operations manager of the Forestry Commission Services Division, Dr. Ben Tagbo, officials warned that forest reserves are under unprecedented pressure while frontline personnel remain under-resourced, limited rapid response efforts.
The Forestry Commission of Ghana says, although it has historically faced challenges in rapid deployment and military reinforcement, new measures are being introduced to strengthen enforcement capacity. Chief Executive Officer of the Forestry Commission, Hugh Brown, says investments are being made to reinforce rapid response teams, recruit additional frontline staff, and deploy technology in monitoring operations.
The next thing is that once you establish these camps, you need men and women, or of course the men, to fill these camps. We need to quickly get the clearance, else you would have camps and no staff to man these camps. The way our camps are designed, it has enough room to take on the military when they come to provide support.
According to the Commission, degraded forest coverage increased from 5,257 hectares in 2021 to 8,924 hectares by the end of 2024. The Apambrama Forest Reserve alone has reportedly lost nearly 40% of its forest cover. Dr. Ben Togbo says rivers and tributaries within affected zones are increasingly exposed, silted, and contaminated, posing long-term ecological risks.
Because the more you start clearing forests and doing these things, you lose biodiversity. Again, the forests are there to purify our air and water and all these kind of things. So the moment you start clearing forests and then some of these debris go into the water bodies, you are actually impacting negatively on the water quality. And then if you are removing forests, definitely you are affecting the carbon sequestration capacity of the forest in terms of reducing the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So these are, the first three things that come to mind.
Director of Operations for Natural Forest at the Commission, Yao Kwachi, stressed that sustained enforcement, better equipment, and coordinated judicial action are essential to curbing the menace.
The plan was to send garrisons. A garrison is made up of 30 men. If you have 30 men living close to where the illegal operators go about their business, it would help to improve the security situation in these areas. So beyond the Forestry Commission taking steps to address these issues, I think it should be of great national security concern also.
The Commission is calling for urgent national collaboration, warning that without stronger frontline capacity and unified enforcement, illegal mining will continue to devastate the environment.
All right, so allow me to say some more on the environment, because the Environmental Protection Agency, that's the EPA, has begun a pilot project to restore the heavily polluted water bodies affected by illegal mining activities, starting with the Brim River at GHOne in the eastern region. Well, the move, described as science-based method, is followed by a call for stronger collaboration from private companies, civil society groups, and government institutions to tackle the growing menace. Well, speaking at the launch of the pilot project on the Brim River, Chief Executive Officer of the EPA, Professor Nana Amma Brown-Kluche, said the intervention is aimed at testing practical solutions to rehabilitate rivers damaged by galamsey activities across the country. Well, GHOne News' Isaac Abila was at the launch. His father's report.
The ionic nanocopper technology is the central treatment method being deployed under the pilot project to help restore the polluted Brim River alongside other polluted river bodies. Officials say the chemical process is designed to reduce contamination levels due to illegal mining and gradually improve water quality. Chief Executive Officer of the EPA, Professor Nana Amma Brown-Kluche, says the pilot will serve as a model for restoring other degraded water bodies across the country. She therefore called for strong collaboration among private institutions, civil society, and government agencies to fight illegal mining and protect Ghana's water resources.
We are applying chemicals as well into the river, the flowing river. And that is the process we call the dechemicalization, where we remove the heavy metals from the polluted river bodies. To all Ghanaians, this is a concern for us. We want to get our water bodies clean, restore our land so that we can get good food, vegetables, fruits to eat. Kilometers, $200,000 and even more. Individuals can support the EPA and its partner institutions to continuously clean our river bodies. We also call on other private institutions, groups of people, and government institutions to partner with EPA for this exercise.
Hailing the technology, the Ghana Standards Authority says it could even help revive aquatic life severely affected by pollution. Deputy Director General in charge of operations, Dr. Awal Mohammed, spoke to the media on the development.
Everything in it shows that it is something that can help. So the literature tells us that the aquatic animals are even treated to have a good life, and so we can get more, even that they will be more healthier than even before.
The Director of Mining at the EPA, Engineer Michael Sando Ali, says the ultimate aim is to restore the Brim River to its former glory.
With time, the Brim will continue to be clear as it used to be. And when people said they walked along the Brim those days, they could find nuggets of gold and diamond. We wanted to get back to that stage.
Meanwhile, Municipal Chief Executive for Abuako South, Nana Edu Sapong Ado Ekins Jr. says a relentless war against illegal mining has been initiated in the area.
All right, so if you're just joining us, this is News Tonight, and my name is Kweku. Temeng. We're still taking some more local stories. And hey, for some time now, the cocoa sector has been in the news. Well, allow me to take this particular story as a poll by Global Info Analytics indicates that a majority of cocoa farmers consider the recent reduction in producer price fair, despite a mixed reaction from the public. Well, the survey shows that 44% of voters say the new cocoa price is fair. 31% describe it as unfair, while 26% are neutral. Amongst cocoa farmers, 56% believe the revised price is fair, 11% say it is unfair, and 33% did not express a clear opinion. Now, the development follows the February 12, 2026 announcement by the Producer Price Review Committee, that's a PPRC, which pegged the new farm gate price at 41,392 Ghana cedis per ton, equivalent to 2,587 Ghana cedis per 64 kilogram bag. Well, the figure represents a 28.6% reduction from the 3,625 Ghana cedis per bag announced in October 2025. The survey further reveals that 61% of voters are prepared to support a government that takes difficult decisions in the long-term interest of the country. Well, 25% say they would not, while 14% remain undecided. Regional breakdown of the poll shows a slim majority of respondents in Ahafo, Asante, Bono, Greater Accra, Northern and Western North regions view the reduction as unfair, with Western North recording the highest level of dissatisfaction, that's at 62%. On the government's explanation for the adjustment, 47% of the respondents say they agree with the reasons provided, including 57% of cocoa farmers, while 31% disagree, while 22% have no opinion on this. Now, having shared this with you, I'm happy that tonight you join me on our social media platforms with your concerns on cocoa pricing, what the farmer will receive, and indeed if you think it's fair or not. But I know one man who has conducted the poll, and that is Musa Dankwa. That's the Executive Director of Global Info Analytics. Musa Dankwa, thank you very much for joining us tonight. So I would want more details on this analysis you've shared with all of us tonight. Now, what does the data suggest about farmers' confidence in staying in cocoa farming under the current conditions?
Right. Thank you very much for having me. If you look at the data we've published, it doesn't mean that farmers are happy. They are saying that they understand the situation and that under the circumstances, if you have to infer from the data, they believe that obviously they would have preferred current global situation, and I believe that is why they seem to be accommodating with what is happening. Now, what is interesting is that it appears a lot more people who are not into farming are more concerned about the pricing or the fairness than the farmers themselves. For me, that is the revealing or revelation from this data.
Interesting. Those who are not farmers are actually worried that why the farmer bearing this brand, and rather the farmers are saying that, okay, it might be a tough decision, but look, if it will be in the long interest of the farmer, then we are okay with it. Quite interesting revelation this analysis have brought. But let me find out from you, did the poll reveal any regional or demographic differences in opinion? I mean, if you can share with us, maybe Western North, Greater Accra, can you give us a breakdown in the demographics?
I mean, by slim majority, voters in Ahafo region say it's unfair. Also in Ashanti region, about 34%, and Bono region, about 33%. Now, the region that has the highest level of unfairness is Western North. And you could see that, in fact, the protest that I've seen so far, or that we have seen so. And that's why you are seeing a high number of people saying that it is unfair. Interestingly, it is the reverse in the case of Western region, which is a cocoa farming, cocoa area. About 60% said it's fair, compared to 21% who are saying it's unfair. So there's a bit of interesting data coming from all over the country. And there are other areas which are not cocoa growing area, like the northern region, Upper East, Upper West, Savannah, and the rest. They believe it is fair. But mind you, those areas, they are not cocoa farmers.
Musa, just before you go, shortly, you always put out these analytics to help us. If you have Randy Abbey, if you have His Excellency the President, and you have to advise them based on this analysis on cocoa, within a few seconds, what would you want to tell them?
You know, we don't advise. We are not experts in cocoa. We just bring data out. So for those who can advise them, they are there. They can look at the figure or the data and advise the President. I have no capacity to advise him on cocoa issues.
Musa Dankwa saying, my analysis are there. Those who can advise pick the analysis, run with it, and advise the duty bearers or the stakeholders. After this break, we're back with more. Do stay. The program is News Tonight, and it's right here on GHOne TV. And tonight, our focus is on your ECG meters. All right, so on Inside Tonight, the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition says the move to manufacture electricity meters locally is a strategic step to curb capital flights and strengthen the local capacity. Well, according to the ministry, enhancing technical knowledge and skills remains central to economic development, and producing meters locally will retain revenue that was previously lost through imports. There's more in the following report.
MBH Power Ghana Limited has commissioned a new meter manufacturing facility in Temeng aimed at producing, assembling, and testing a range of energy meters. The state-of-the-art plant will manufacture single-phase and three-phase smart prepaid and GPRS meters to support the Electricity Company of Ghana in replacing obsolete meters and addressing billing challenges. Speaking at the commissioning ceremony, Deputy Minister for Energy and Green Transition, Richard Jan Mensah, said the government is deliberately promoting local production to create jobs and reduce reliance on imports.
For many years, Ghana has relied heavily on imported meters to meet domestic demand. While imports have helped us expand access, they have also lent capital out through unlimited local participation in this critical segment of energy industry. Today, we are proud that this narrative is changing. With the establishment of MPH Limited manufacturing plant here in Ghana, we have taken a bold step towards local production. This initiative will reduce our dependence on imports, retain value within our economy, and create skills and semi-skilled jobs for our young and teeny youth.
In his remarks, Managing Director of MBH Power Ghana Limited, GHOne, welcomed the government's policy direction of partnering with the private sector to bring about transformation to the energy sector through local content. He added that the company is prepared to address operational bottlenecks using modern innovations and technical expertise.
The journey started in 2007 with the education and delivery of a number of projects. Some of them I will mention here now: supplying and installation of shunt capacitors in Ghana and Darjeeling, self-help electrification project for selected communities in Ashanti and Bro. These are in Ghana and Temeng.
With the commissioning of the facility, the ministry says it expects procurement delays, overbilling, and underbilling concerns experienced by the consumers to be significantly reduced.
Allow me to stay on some energy some more. Several Ghanaians are expressing concerns over what they describe as the unusually fast depletion of their prepaid credit, saying it has become difficult to monitor their usage. Well, we hit the streets of Accra to hear directly from consumers about their experiences.
Has demanded that ECG brings a report within 7 days, and this is as a result of the rapid depletion of prepaid recently. We take to the streets of Ghana to ask pedestrians, traders, drivers about the recent development.
It's something we've been experiencing for me. I've experienced it for almost 4 years now, but I thought it was, you see, they have some end of month charges. So I mostly experience it during the end of the month, when the month is about to end. You will see they will just deduct any amount they want. And I thought it was that, but as time went on, it can happen anytime in the month.
Whenever we go in to get the prepaid to put in our meters, it doesn't last. It doesn't last at all. So at the time we are feeling that it will be good for us that they will bring back those old meters for us. Because for that one, we know we go in to pay monthly. But what we are facing now is too bad for us. So we think the government should do something about it.
Now the prepaid is really killing us. The salary we have been taking is not enough to buy prepaid and take care of our children. So we beg the president to do something about it.
Prepaid no to ama eni na he. Ube wana fun o da dem wa fun. Kwen su se kwen na dum. Ti esra aban se panichawa.
This is the reaction from citizens of Ghana concerning the new development from the Energy Ministry. I am Rahel Nimfo, reporting for GHOne TV and Star FM.
Sorry. Queen. It's done. That's a concern. If you experience it, share more thoughts with us on our social media platforms. But stay with me some more because I want to stay on the subject some more. Executive Director of the Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy, Benjamin Insia, is calling for an independent technical audit of the country's electricity billing system following growing consumer complaints. Well, he says estimated billing, possible meter malfunctions, and human errors may be contributing to the recent surge in electricity bills. Well, Mr. Insia is urging regulators to conduct a transparent assessment to establish the real cause and ensure consumers are not unfairly charged.
And that is why I think the minister's assertion that ECG must independently verify this particular complaints is neither here nor there, because ECG doesn't have that legal mandate to do so. It is PRC. So what I think PRC should do is to assess some of these complaints, because billing comes in many forms. It could be that tariff adjustments have led to increments in bills. It could be that human errors in terms of when these meters were calibrated is the reason why these bills are overblown to these consumers. It could also be that the consumer themselves have also increased their consumption of electricity, or maybe some malfunction of the technology being used in billing on some of these prepaid meters. It is only true when PRC is able to conduct this independent verification assessment, and then we shall have the outcome to justify or otherwise whether any of the items or any of the indicators I mentioned earlier are the main causes of these overbilling as being complained by the electricity consumer. If it happens so that the faults were coming from ECG, I think that there's a sanction regime that is established under 538, that is the PRC Act, to be laid upon the doorsteps of ECG and its management.
All right, so allow me to take the conversation a step higher because we would want some opinion and answers. And here, the Minister for Energy and Green Transition, Dr. John Abdullahi Jinapo, has assured consumers that government will investigate complaints of rapid prepaid credit depletion and abnormal meter readings. Well, he's assured consumers that government will investigate complaints of the rapid prepaid credit depletion and abnormal meter readings. Well, this comes after numerous concerns were raised about faulty meters leading to abnormal power usage. Well, Dr. Jinapo made this statement while commissioning MBH Power Ghana's new energy meter manufacturing unit in Temeng.
Our policy is to encourage local production, and so I'm happy that MBH is taking that step. What I will do on my return is that next week we'll have a meeting with all the meter manufacturing companies in Ghana, and ECG, NEDCO, the ministry, and all the others who procure meters. So we can prioritize procurement of meters within. Yesterday I instructed that we do some random tests of the meters in the system so that we can be sure of the accuracy of the meter in terms of their reading. I've received some complaints of some people that they are witnessing some extraordinary readings, and some call them disabled meters. But what we have to do is investigate that and come to the finality in terms of the complaints.
Well, let's hold a conversation on the back of this. Kweku is an energy analyst, and he joins me for a phone conversation on this particular development. Well, Kweku, thank you for your time tonight. So, yes, stakeholders have raised concerns about the audit of meters to be done by the ECG. Yes, it's like your own internal audit. The ECG should audit itself. I mean, do you share in this same opinion that ECG should not audit itself? Maybe it should be done by the PURC or another independent body?
Good evening. And good evening to your viewers and listeners. I honestly don't get which stakeholders will have a problem with the minister's directive saying that ECG should come up with a report of what is going on within the last 7 days. Sorry, in 7 days they should come up with a report. ECG themselves are not aware of the customer problem. I actually experienced this issue on Sunday and yesterday. A lot of people have come up with the issue of meters basically eating up their credit. What we should remember is that the meters are run by third-party vendors. Though it is ECG that supply us electricity, the metering and the system is run by third parties who basically supply these meters to ECG. And the software is basically a proprietary of those third parties. So if the minister directs ECG to look internally and find out what went wrong, why customers' meters, customers' credit are running out within the shortest possible time, when normally it lasts them longer. There is nothing wrong with other people saying that ECG can't audit themselves. When they take you to go and do the work, what are you looking for? I mean, you don't know what you're looking for. I mean, ECG themselves are able to understand the problem. If you go to the customer service in ECG and you take your meter and your records to them, they are able to go through their system and ascertain what the problem is. So I think ECG is the best people to look within their system and inform the minister why the problem occurred in the last week or two or continue to occur in the country. So I don't see anything wrong with that directive at all.
All right, Kojo. Well, clearly stated, you don't find anything wrong with it at all. Should ECG investigate these concerns? And obviously, the meters were getting from third party, and it's realized that really there was a problem. How do you think adequately we as consumers can be compensated?
So, if the meter read unlawfully, or there was a glitch, and the meter or the software took people's money, then it will be refunded. You know, you see, there's a pattern. Everybody has a billing pattern. Everybody has what you call a billing history. Now, ECG can look at everybody's billing history and look at what everybody pays within a week, a month. Like I said, I was affected, right? I buy a certain amount from Thursday to Thursday. So I buy my credit every week. So I know how much I buy on Thursday, and I will not buy again until either Wednesday evening or Thursday morning. The same amount I bought on Thursday, I have to buy on Sunday. So it didn't last me even till Wednesday. Then when I bought again on Sunday, yesterday, which was Tuesday, the credit got finished. So in my instance, I have experienced it firsthand, right? So if ECG look at my history, my billing history, they realize that, Mr. Poku buys X amount of electricity every week. Within the last 1 week, he's bought double the amount. So if there is a problem, then they will refund the money to the people that have basically encountered that problem. So I think we should be patient. Everybody is quick to blame and say things that they don't even know what they are talking about, right? This problem came about. The minister have heard. The minister have directed ECG to do an internal investigation within 7 days and come out with a report. Let's wait and see what ECG comes to tell us.
Okay. Kojo Poku, thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the explanation. He's an energy analyst. Well, that will do for Insight for tonight. When we're back, we'll still have some more local stories for you. Well, still with local news, the High Court in Accra has directed the National House of Chiefs, that's the NHCs, to immediately restore the name of Nana Akwesi Darko, the second chief of Maira Owulaiman, to the National Register of Chiefs. The ruling delivered by Justice Sednam Awo Kwadom found the National House of Chiefs acted unlawfully when it removed Nana Akwesi Darko's name from the register without giving him a fair hearing. Well, the courts therefore ordered that his name be reinstated with immediate effect.
The court declared that the National House of Chiefs acted unlawfully in expunging Nana Akwesi Darko's name without a fair hearing. Nana Akwesi Darko II had filed an application for judicial review asking the court to compel the National House of Chiefs to restore his name after the House of Chiefs had removed it from the National Register in March. The court found that the National House of Chiefs failed to provide evidence that Nana Akwesi Darko was given a hearing before his name was expunged. Justice Sednam Awo Kwadam, in her ruling, awarded a cost of 15,000 Ghana cedis against the National House of Chiefs. The court also declared that the National House of Chiefs' decision to expunge Nana Akwesi Darko's name was null and void and acted beyond its powers in removing his name. The court said the National House of Chiefs is to initiate new proceedings to determine Nana Akwesi Darko's status, but must follow proper procedures and give him a fair hearing. Nana Akwesi Darko argued that removing his name without a hearing breached the rule of natural justice and violated the Constitution. The National House of Chiefs claimed it had the right to expunge his name based on an investigation. The National House of Chiefs had acted on a complaint from a former Attorney General, Joseph Kweku, and determined that Nana Akwesi Darko's name should be expunged. The court found this process as flawed. The applicant expressed satisfaction at the decision of the court.
Someone come and say he's a Jassy chair from nowhere. From nowhere. It's not part of my family. I don't know him from anywhere. I don't know him from Ada. And then he just come out and then say, National House of Chiefs, this is the booty I have for you. If we are able to execute this for, I don't know for what reason, I don't know. You see, then we just went ahead, went to Akom and then asked them, I don't know that secretary over there even what he did. And then we wrote to National House of Chiefs for my name to be cancelled. Once you are not the person who gazetted me.
Justice Awo Kwadam, in her ruling, expressed commendation to the applicant for his demonstration of restraint and civil maturity. The applicant reacted to the court's commendation.
It will not do you good if you are a chief and something happened. The only thing you have to do is to run straight to court. You see, you don't have to go and then mobilize people for someone to lose his life for you to become chief, or for someone to lose his life for you to regain what you have. It is not the best thing. I don't like violence. All that I want is the rule of law. So I advise all chiefs to exercise patience. It will take time, but then we will finish.
In a rare and deeply symbolic act of compassion, the Turkish community in Ghana has extended Ramadan benevolence to one of the most often forgotten groups in society, prison inmates. Well, at a ceremony in Accra, humanitarian partners and state authorities gathered to honor Muslim inmates across Ghana's prisons, reinforcing the message that incarceration does not erase dignity, faith, or humanity.
Ramadan is a season of reflection, sacrifice, and generosity. In Accra, the spirit reached beyond mosque halls into Ghana's prison yards. The Turkish community in Ghana, through the support of Huda Foundation, made a significant donation to the Ghana Prison Service aimed at supporting Muslim inmates to observe the Holy Fast with dignity. Organizers of the event described the donation as an act of love, one that honors inmates as brothers and members of the wider community, especially during a sacred season defined by sharing. They emphasized that Ramadan is not only about fasting, but about remembering the vulnerable, including those behind bars.
And this is with the prison service. So I know Mr. Minister has excellent ideas about supporting inmates, and I'm sure this is a start. We will do a lot of things together.
The Minister for the Interior praised the gesture, describing it as a powerful reminder that society must not forget the poor, the needy, and those incarcerated for one reason or another.
I mean, sometimes all of us forget the very poor and needy among us. But for them to have remembered that we have people who, for one reason or the other, who are incarcerated, have to be remembered, it's a very great gesture. So I want to thank them, and I want to urge the prison authorities to use the items judiciously.
He further appealed to individuals and organizations to come forward to support efforts to keep inmates safe, healthy, and dignified.
So we'll continue to seek support from everybody who can come forward to help us to continue to keep our inmates safe.
Special appreciation was extended to the Turkish ambassador to Ghana, Hussein Gungo, for his consistent coordination and humanitarian support since the current government assumed office. As prayers were offered and gratitude exchanged, one message stood clear: humanity does not stop at prison walls, and compassion, when extended, has the power to restore dignity, hope, and belonging.
Well, we wish the Muslim community the very best as they go through the fasting period. We're back shortly with more in business.
The Business Brief is brought to you by CompuGhana, passion for technology.
All right, so let's do business at this moment. And here, tomato traders across Ghana have been compelled to redirect their supply routes to Togo after 8 Ghanaian traders were killed in Titao, a town in northern Burkina Faso. While the incident has effectively disrupted imports from Burkina Faso, Ghana's primary source of tomatoes, leading to supply shortfalls and renewed price instability in local markets. While traders acknowledge that the tomatoes sourced from Togo have a significantly shorter shelf life. However, they maintain that it is currently the only practical alternative to keep markets supplied. Well, my colleague Farida Abubakar and Ahmed Aishetu Garba visited the Nima and Malamata markets. They've come through with this report.
Burkina Faso did not only claim the lives of 8 Ghanaian traders, but has also cut off a vital agricultural trade route that has sustained local markets for years. For a long time, Ghana depended heavily on Burkina Faso's firm Sahel tomato variety, widely valued for its durability and extended shelf life. That supply has now been abruptly disrupted. The immediate impact is evident. Wholesale prices are rising, and traders say they are operating in survival mode.
I am a tomato trader. Due to what happened in Burkina Faso, we fear and so we no longer import from Burkina. So we had no option than to turn to Togo to purchase our tomatoes in order to keep the supply chain alive.
In response, traders have redirected their sourcing to Togo, but the alternative presents new challenges. Unlike the hardy Burkinabe variety, tomatoes from Togo are softer, highly perishable, and more susceptible to damage during transport. Traders are often forced to sort through spoiled crates before sales even begin.
We import them from Togo. These tomatoes are stored in baskets when transporting them to Ghana. Tomatoes we buy from Togo are very expensive, and due to its scarcity, we the traders rush to buy to be able to sell to our customers.
With spoilage increasing, profit margins are tightening and losses are mounting. Consumers are already absorbing the impact through higher prices.
Currently, tomatoes are very expensive. The small bowl of tomatoes used to cost 20 Ghana cedis, but now it sells for 50 Ghana cedis. The medium bowl was 50 Ghana cedis, but it has now increased to 100 Ghana cedis. The big bowl used to be 100 Ghana cedis, and it now costs 200 Ghana cedis. Tomato price has really increased.
Traders insist the switch to Togo was driven by fear and necessity, not preference.
When tomatoes are brought from Togo to Ghana, we cannot buy because it's very expensive. Customers coming forth to buy also find it expensive, so we traders do not even know what to do.
They describe mounting financial pressure linked to transportation delays and product losses, and are urging government to intervene swiftly to stabilize supply routes, strengthen cross-border security, and provide relief measures to prevent further disruption in the sector.
Well, one day I'll be very glad if an agronomist is able to explain why we are not able to grow tomatoes on our arable lands from the north to the south, but have to depend on Togo and Burkina Faso. We'll leave that conversation for another day. But for now, government has unveiled the Ghana Accelerated National Reserve Accumulation Policy, targeting the financial buffer equivalent to 15 months of imports cover by the end of 2028. Well, the plan involves purchasing 3.02 tons of gold every week to build Ghana's extended reserves. Well, under the policy, larger scale firms will conduct transactions in cedis at the prevailing interbank rate with volumes-based discounts to be negotiated. Well, presenting the GHOne to Parliament, Finance Minister Dr. Kezia Latofosin described the approach as a strategic departure from the unsustainable practice of borrowing to build reserves.
Government therefore seeks to accumulate a strategic buffer beyond the conventional reserve adequacy levels and build an economic war chest of 15 months of import cover by end 2028. And this is to safeguard macroeconomic stability, break the cycle of economic downturns, sustain confidence in the currency, and improve investor confidence. Also to reduce exposure to external shocks and support long-term economic transformation of our dear country. Mr. Speaker, the objective of this policy is to build reserves to 15 months of import cover to support Ghana's long-term economic transformation without compromising economic stability. Government therefore seeks to accumulate a strategic buffer beyond the conventional reserve adequacy levels and build an economic...
All right, so on behalf of the entire production team tonight, I would want to appreciate you for deciding to stay with us till the end of the bulletin. Well, the assurance is that if you're looking for a channel that gives you information, education, and entertainment, then you're looking nowhere else than GHOne TV. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And tonight, brush with Pepsodent. Do not forget to do the 2.